by and they would drop meat. Meat. You hear that, Steve? Meat. God did not have them drop tofu. Okay? No granola. Meat. He dropped meat. And in fact, they never thought about that. We're looking at getting we found a meat place and it says they have rattlesnake and kangaroo and ostrich and what? Boar, yes, it's boar, and so we're like an alligator, and I'd like to get some of that. It'd be fun to. I want to have a barbecue contest with Steve, and what can you do with kangaroo? What can you do with And maybe he was getting kangaroo meat and ostrich meat. We don't know where it was coming from. It's just basically roadkill, and which is now legal to take in Oregon, just in case you're wondering. But so he goes out into the wilderness by the brook Kidron, where there's water. He needs water. And these birds would come by. And I always wonder, God can do it any way he wants, but I wonder if God used something natural, like there was some kind of a special breeze that came by that would hit the birds and they'd open their mouth and drop the food, or whatever it was. It's cool to think he would come out for breakfast and he'd be like, man, check his Fitbit, and I was and you pray for big birds, not Sesame Street ones, but you pray they have big hunks of meat, not these little tiny hunks of meat. You want a big hunk of meat coming down, and you go, and there would be a filet mignon with bacon. All right, it was, and he'd roast it and he would eat it, and he was by himself. Now I thought about that. Now, it's very important because I really did think this. I wasn't thinking this up for a sermon or something. When I hear about him sitting in the wilderness for years, like he didn't witness to anybody for Christ, I don't think he really had scrolls to read. The Bible. What was he doing for God? Waiting, but boy, I'm not a waiter. My kind of waiting is like a waiter in a restaurant. Get God some more coffee. After the service, asked me about my fancy restaurant story. McDonald's got really expensive. It's but I can't imagine if God just said, do nothing and be around nobody and minister to nobody. Just wait. Wait for what? I'm not going to tell you. Just wait. That bothers me. It really does. It's hard for me. Sometimes God puts me in positions where I have to know up here that God's doing it, even though I don't feel it here. I don't like it any more than you like it. I like being obedient to God, and I like the fact that God's doing something. But I'm wondering if he went through some of the things that I go through, that maybe you go through. If all of a sudden God decides to do a giant shift in your life, you say, why, God? What did I do? And you start looking at yourself and saying, what do I need to do? How do I fix this? What is wrong with me? And when that doesn't work, the natural thing is you begin to look at the people around you. God had brought our church through a cleaning process. Part of that cleaning process, when Gideon was going to go against that giant army, God said, you got too many people. I'm going to clean this out. I've got 30,000. That's not too many. The army is innumerable. So I'm going to clean some out. Because I want the glory. So cleaned out, he left him 10,000. He's like, oh man, 10,000 out of 30,000. This is going to be really tough. And God says, I'm not done yet. Now you got to be Gideon. You got to ask yourself, Gideon be like, well, did God really tell me to tell those people whoever wants to go home can go home?